fantasizing about throwing mothers with beautiful children into these mass detention camps, which is outlined in Project 2025.
And as soon as we grab, perhaps we take a woman with 2 children, 3 children. She shouldn't be here, but she's a nice woman. The children are beautiful. And all of a sudden it ends up being a front page story of the liberal newspapers. And you're right, it's a hard thing to do. Harder than a long time ago with Dwight Eisenhower, right? A lot harder. Nobody complained. In those days, it was, we had a country that was much different.
It's not that JD necessarily disagrees. I think he probably likes a bunch of this stuff, but he's recognizing that the way Trump is talking about it is not going to serve their cause well in this environment. And it's probably not going to serve their cause particularly well running against Kamala Harris either.
Mi gente, por ahí andan las noticias que según quieren deportar a toda la raza trabajadora y les hicimos este corrido, compa Kevin.
Para que le pongan oído, dice más o menos así, compadre. Años tengo trabajando de este lado, buscando el mentado sueño americano.
Los gringos aquí ya no nos quieren, que según les estorbamos.
Se menciona mucho en los noticieros, traen muchos mitotes esos del gobierno.
Resulta ya quieren deportarme, en eso no estamos de acuerdo.
Resulta que por ser inmigrante, mi valor es insignificante. Si supieran lo que batallamos para salir adelante.
Ya con día salimos a chambear, no creo que nadie le hagamos mal.
Odre viejo.
Ya quisiera vernos trabajando como lo hace este ilegal. ¿Y qué culpa tenemos nosotros los inmigrantes por querer buscar nuestros sueños? ¡Ánimo, mi gente! Y no se me raje.
Y así suenan los de la norte, compa Jesús Méndez. Puro elegante récord, mi viejo. ¡Ay, ay, ay!
Unos días no duermo y otros como mal, pa' que a mi familia nada le pueda faltar.
Se murió mi madre y a mis padres, espero volverlo a mirar.
Canto por mi gente, no se vayan a agüitar, que Diosito es grande y de esta ley nos va a salvar.
Nomás acuérdense de Florida, nos volvieron a ocupar.
Resulta que por ser inmigrante, mi valor es insignificante. Si supieran lo que hemos sufrido para salir adelante.
Día con día salimos a chambear, no creo que nadie le hagamos mal. Ya quisiera verlos trabajando como lo hace este ilegal.
Oye, que estamos aquí. Mírame, estamos aquí. Desde hace rato, cuando ustedes llegaron, ya estaban las huellas de nuestros zapatos. Se robaron hasta la comida de gato y todavía se están lamiendo el plato. Bien encabronados con estos ingratos. Hoy le doy duro a los tambores hasta que me acusen de maltrato. Si no entiendes el dato, pues te lo tiro en cumbia, bossa nova, tango o vallenato. A lo Calaboy y bambú, bien frontú, con sangre caliente como Timbuktu. Estamos dentro del menú. Tupac se llama Tupac por Tupac Amaru del Perú. América no es solo USA, papá. Esto es desde Tierra del Fuego hasta Canadá. Hay que ser bien bruto, bien hueco. Es como decir que África es solo Marruecos. Estos canallas se les olvidó que el calendario que usan se lo inventaron los mayas con la Valdivia precolombina. Desde hace tiempo, este continente camina, pero ni con toda la marina pueden sacar de la vitrina la peste campesina. Esto esto va para el capataz de la empresa. El machete no es solo para cortar caña, también es para cortar cabeza.
Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerdes. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerdes. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. 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 Te muerde, te muerde.
Los paramilitares, las guerrillas, los hijos del conflicto, las pandillas, las listas negras, los falsos positivos, los periodistas asesinados, los desaparecidos, los narcogobiernos, todos los que robaron, los que se manifiestan y los que se olvidaron, las persecuciones, los golpes de estado, el país en quiebra, los exiliados, el peso devaluado, el tráfico de droga, los carteles, las invasiones, los emigrantes sin papeles, 5 presidentes en 11 días, disparo a quemarropa por parte de la policía, más de 100 años de tortura, la nova trova cantando en plena dictadura. Somos la sangre que sopla la presión atmosférica. Gambino, mi hermano, esto sí es América.
Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerdes. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerdes. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. 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 Te muerde, te muerde.
El autor viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach, ¿no? Un filósofo francés de origen alemán. Si nos remontamos al comienzo, entonces hallaremos que la ignorancia y el temor crearon a los dioses. La fantasía, el entusiasmo o el engaño los adornaron o desfiguraron. La debilidad les rinde culto, la credulidad los conserva, la costumbre los respeta y la tiranía los apoya para que la ceguera de los hombres sirva a sus propios intereses.
Okay, dokie, artichoke. I think it's all working, man. I think it's all working today. Boom, boom, boom. Fire up, fire up, fire up, fire up. Bam. There we go. Give me a second. Let me get rid of this here. Okie dokie, artichoke. Okay, that didn't work. Let me get rid of this then. Try this one now. Okay, here we go. All right, family. Good evening. Good morning. Good buenas tardes, I say. In case some of you guys are watching from another place. I see somebody here. Europeans will never be American, that's for sure. Damn right. That's what I say to them. And I mean that with an exclamation point. You know what I mean? But anyhow, good night, brother. Good to see you here. Anyhow, check it out. So today I'm going to show you a video. I think it's a good moment to educate ourselves. I'm not saying I agree with this young man's complete, thesis of the scriptures, because again, he's I think Old Testament keeper, right? But anyways, that's not the point. I do foresee and I have seen this to occur, and it's time that it's starting to happen. And I believe with what we know now, it's extremely important. So I'm gonna read you something extreme, very, very. I think that a matter of fact, because we cannot overlook this, and it has a lot to do with whoever you are. Let's say, for example, debating. Okay, they have to understand this first. So this is from a book called The Lutheran Witness Newsletter, printed in September 7th, 1900. Okay, now he critiques the Catholic Church. Oh, let me take this out. My bad. He critiques the Catholic Church. Okay. So I'm just going to try to get to the point before I show you the video. And the reason I'm doing this is because we have to be mindful of this. Okay. This newsletter, Lutheran newsletter, critiques the Catholic Church, their approach, and how about they've always treated the indigenous people here. So let's read something, because this holds precedent to every damn argument BHIs or Wobbles want to use at every moment, because they will bring up books from people that either were not here or came later, and those are the same people that question who we are with a disregard of true history. Well, even though they know, because technically it is prohibited by the Spanish Empire. Let's read this. This is in September 7th, 1900. It writes, Dr. Francis S. Borton relates the following about the first Bible printed in Mexico in the Christian Advocate. The printing press came to Mexico in 1539. For in that year, there was printed in Mexico in Spanish a brief compendium of the Christian doctrine under the auspices of the famous Bishop Fray Juan Zumarraga. Now, pause for a second without losing our point. This is the man that taught us everything to do with Padre Nuestro, El Credo, Diez Mandamientos, Ave Maria, and Rosario. He also was the one that gave us the Virgin Mary concept, the whole Trinity BS. Okay? So not only did he bring this, but that's the Christian compendium. By law, that's all you could do. You could not read the Bible. Okay, be mindful of this. 1529 or 39, one of those 2 years. But at this point, it's where the beginning of the end becomes. Right? Check this out. That was just 81 years after the Mayflower brought the first pilgrims to Plymouth Bay. From 1539 to 1810, keep that number. 16, 17, 18, almost 300 years. But that's not all, folks. When the immortal Hidalgo raised the cry of Mexican independence, and during the 270 years of Spanish rule or misrule in Mexico, Spain not only did not give Mexico a Bible, but sternly prohibited the publication of any part of the sacred scriptures in the language of the Mexican people. That prohibition is still enforced with regards to the printing of the Bible and any one of the 52 different languages and dialects spoken in Mexico today. You see this? The first edition of the Mexican Bible was printed in Latin and Spanish in Mexico City in 1831, and in 1833, finally, after 300 years, printed only in Latin and Spanish. However, it was in 25 volumes, like an atlas, and cost over $200 at that time, probably like 10 grand. So it has still remained a prohibited book to the great majority of the people. Why? Because they were broke. Be mindful of this. So now keep this in mind that this is Sumarraga, who was given the power by the Empire, Spanish Empire, and the Jesuits to determine what can be printed and not be printed. Now, in case you don't know, let me prove something to you as well. You young ones that think you know what you're talking about. Okay, this is from a book called "The Lost Tribes of Israel" by Barbara Simmons. This was printed in 1829 or 39, one of those 2 years. This is to what this is said in that time to confirm that nobody was allowed to write anything. And if you were trying to write something at that time, check this out. This is what they did to you. This is on page 8, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, page 7. Sagahun further complained that he was forcibly deprived of a very valuable painting representing the Great Temple, with the court by which it was surrounded, which he says was sent to Spain. It is very evident that everything in Mexico, calculated to draw attention to the ancient history of that country, more specifically, if connected with religious recollections, was carefully removed from notice immediately after conquest. You hear that? Immediately after conquest. Now, what does that mean? 1492. You see what I'm saying? Pieces of sculptures were mutilated or buried. Paintings were burned. Temples and edifices, which from their size it was impossible to destroy, were suffered to fall into oblivion. The magnificent monuments of ancient arts, such as the Temple of Palenque and the Palace of Mictlan, were passed unnoticed by Spanish authors. Now, who authorized all of this as well? Sumarraga. And I can prove that. But and again, that I should have put it in my notes. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I do have proof to confirm that Sumarraga was enjoying this. Sagahun would engage in the compilation of his history after it had been taken away from him and regained and again restored by authority of Sumarraga, once again, who did not authorize the Bible to be printed, and now he did not want anyone to print anything of our people. First, what? First, to write nothing to prove that the Hebrews had colonized the New World. Because why? Because it was true. Secondly, to be guarded in what he said of the devil having imitated, okay, this is his demon mindset here, having imitated God and taken to himself a chosen people in the New World. You see? What he means is that there's no way that these Indios or you indigenous brothers and sisters could be the chosen people. No, it had to be Satan who was trying to be a counterfeit and counterfeiting the rites and ceremonies of the Jews. And thirdly, not to advance a hypothesis that Christianity had ever been proclaimed to the Indians or indígenas, or to treat too largely on the history of Quetzalcoatl. Okay? You see this? So we see that since the beginning of time, they were told not to print anything. If it was printed, they needed to be only passed through them to authorize whether it could be or not. It says here, not a leaf had been found. Garcia's history of the Peruvian monarchy is also unknown. Seguenza's Mexican cyclography is stated to have been lost through the negligence of his heirs, and many other interesting works are said to have been perished or been lost in a similar manner. You see this? Now, why am I bringing this up? Because you're going to see an individual bring up a particular a point here. Okay? He's going to bring up a particular point about here, hold on. I'm trying to think of two things to do real quick, family. Give me a second. I don't want to forget the thought because I do want to show you this as well. The reason I need this to be of importance is because ¿dónde estás, güey? I think it's here. Let me see if I can get it. Hold on a second. Oh, that's right. I put it to download. It's because a lot of these WABOs or BHIs, right? They love to go to the whole concept that, some people, right? Some people have a certain idea of where we came from. They think they know what they're talking about. This is a colección de libros raros o curiosos regarding what this man wrote. Tratado único y singular de los orígenes de los indios, right? By Diego Andrés Rocha. He was the first one to proclaim, right? Printed in 1891. He was the first one, though, to proclaim that we were not Hamitic in this case, okay, but of some other lineage, right? Check this out. I'm gonna show you. This is why it's important to know where people are getting this concept and when was it written? Because this man was born in 1607. That's a long several years after Sumagat Raga had authorized the destruction of our documentation. This is in Spanish. It says here on page 18. Por uno de cuatro modos se puede llegar al conocimiento de las cosas, según dicen los filósofos, porque se investigan por ciencia y por opinión o por fe divina y por tradición o por fe humana. Este origen de los indios y de qué partes vinieron no se puede saber por ciencia, porque no hay demostración para conocer evidentemente su región. At that time, he's saying there's no way that science can prove it. Por opinión también parece no ser suficiente porque lo que se reduce a ella es dudosa y se funda en fundamentos probables y no concluyentes porque cada uno prueba con los suyos su intento. Por fe divina no parece hay lugar en nuestras escrituras que nos enseña este origen de los indios, ni de qué hijos de Noé descienden, ni de qué parte viniesen, y si hay lugar en las divinas letras, estará en profetas y muy escondido, y será menester la gracia de nuestro Señor Jesucristo, que descubre todo lo que está oculto desde la constitución y origen del mundo, como se dice en el Evangelio. His concept was that we came from the descendants of Japhet. Okay? In the 16th, 17th, and 18th century, they started pushing this concept. In the late 16th century. Early 17th century was where you saw a big push, which was from someone like this guy. Now, he believes in the Atlantis as well. So if you want to push that concept, he's talking about these things too, right? Hércules, Ocadis. So you have to know what you're talking about if you believe that we are descendants of these people. The reason why I say this to you is because this man also said that nobody can prove anything because supposedly there's no documentation. It says here, porque no hay demostración para conocer evidentemente su origen. He's like, there's no documentation to prove what their origin is. Why? This is why you need to know that Diego Andrés Rocha in the 1688 started this concept too, supported by these idiots. But if we read what we read earlier, what does it say? That we lost our understanding quite some time in the past because they destroyed what we had about us, right? So let me show you another truth real quick, because if I read hidden from us, right, that's hidden from us. That's hidden from us. And I want to show you this too because I want to get to the video. That's hidden from us. So this is also hidden from us. How much more can we ignore? We had no clue that when they got here, not only did they find things they didn't like, they wanted to destroy everything about us so no one could know whether we knew of the Most High or their so-called religion in the past. Why is that? Listen in. Why is that? Let's go.
These facts, it just blows my mind. And I felt like, oh my God, I can't be the only person who knows these facts. The world needs to know. We land people are the only ethnic group that's fought in every single war America has ever had. 10,000 unknown Latino patriots fought in the American Revolution. We helped fund the American Revolution. $2 million were given to George Washington from Cuba, Mexico, and Spain. We land people as sons and daughters of the American Revolution. 20,000 was fought in the Civil War. 120,000 of us fought in World War I. 500,000 Latinos fought in World War II. That's a huge sacrifice to the making of this country. We have 60 Medal of Honor honorees. That's the most of any ethnic group. But do we get credit for that? Do you see us in movies? It's crazy how erased our contributions are.
I'm sitting over here like I'm watching the Discovery Channel right now. I feel like I'm going to be at least 5-10% smarter after this.
That should everybody be, because this is a history that people tend to want to push aside.
In here,
and this is a message to our people. If you want to help, if you really
what's said and sold is not in English. In fact, more than 80%.
Put your money where your mouth is, bro. Help our people grow.
In here, most of what's said and sold is not in English. In fact, more than 80% of what's on the shelves at Colonial Market comes from outside the U.S. It's about catering to the community, the owner says.
Our Latino community, our Somali community, Asian community, we have a little bit of everything for everybody.
This brand new location at Lake Street in Hiawatha in Minneapolis is Daniel Hernandez's second Hispanic grocery store in the city. Why Lake Street when people told him he was making a mistake?
My people is here. Latinos are here. And instead of running away, I'm trying to be closer to them. And they are my customers. They are my people. They are the people that have supported my business ventures.
It's a real asset for community members to just have another destination that they can go to get products that they would find back home.
The Lake Street Council says Colonial Market is one of several recent openings and groundbreakings in the corridor. Like here, where Southside Community Health Services will be moving in.
Just to see that continued investment, from community members, shows that, that we're still here. The residents aren't going.
That's good news. All right, so let's begin. Remember, I wanted to give you guys some pointers here. First of all, don't forget what we read with regards to Sumarraga and the Sumarraga concept. So now, I also want to show you this video here. Again, I don't know this brother. I'm going to call him brother because I don't know him. But I don't agree with this, the whole Old Testament stuff. I think that's what they believe in. But I found this very interesting. So I'm going to show you some of the things here, what this guy says, and then I'll skip further into where they start the whole debate. And then I'll show you what this dude responded. And then I'm going to give you guys some books and materials, some proof about who we are, continuing, and I'll call it a night, okay? Try to spend about maybe 2 hours max on this total. We got about an hour and a half, all right? So let's begin. By the way, this guy's been to this channel. Wesley Curry, he's been to my channel. I remember him, and I told his old ass to hit the link. And I don't know if he did, to be honest, but this is what he believes, and this is the problem. What I find interesting is that as soon as the so-called white man, as soon as the so-called white man starts glorying about, Jesus is black, all of a sudden now, everything's cool. Everything's cool now. The same people that claim the white man created images and they worship their image are the same people that are worshiping their own image. Is that the reason you only believe? Let's go.
Raise the name of Kuba Line. Kuba Line is the mother of us all, not Jerusalem. Well, if you're gonna use Jerusalem, it's the Jerusalem in South Africa.
Hey, let me go and get this out the way real quick. We got Uncle Wesley in the building, man. Stop tapping in with us, Uncle Wesley. I'm gonna ask you this question, and this is what it is.
Hey, Wavy, you gonna have to mute everybody and then talk to him like solo dolo.
Alright, mute that. Hey, Jalen, you got. I think that's your mic. Alright, Uncle Wesley. Alright, mute out Uncle Harold. You watching this on TV, Uncle Harold?
Yep.
Alright, yeah, you gotta mute out Uncle Harold. Mute out real quick. My bad, Jalen. Uncle Wesley, do you feel like the Africans in the Bible are Hamites? Do you feel like the Africans in the Bible are Hamites? That's the title of the debate tonight. How you feel about that? You can unmute your mic. You gotta unmute your mic first.
I kneel and bow my head and pray to a black man named Jesus.
Woo! Woo! Okay, Uncle Wesley.
Adam and Eve were black.
Yeah.
Everybody mute that. Let him rock.
You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. The same people that were pointing the finger at the so-called white man that he put a white image over another image are the same people that are glorying that now they get worshipped. When does the scriptures talk about that? It is the spirit that quickeneth. And listen, I'm telling you, family, that when you start noticing people based on their spirit, that you cannot get offended because we bring out the fucking truth. Let's go.
Gabriel, the archangel, Michael, the archangel, are black, not Caucasian. They're Jesus doesn't. I can't speak everything for him, but I'm pretty sure that he wrote his skin color is olive. Like have you ever ordered a pizza? Got a Greek olive on it? You know those little dark olives.
Yes, sir.
Black is. I don't like the connotation of black, but it's worldly. So I bow my head and I pray to a black man, and he is God and he is Jesus, and there is no other God beside him.
Goddamn.
He revealed to me that Adam and Eve were black. Gabriel and Michael are black, not Caucasian. Caucasian is kind of a false word. It's more like.
Look at how like literally y'all are fucking dropping saliva because the old ass white man had a vision of some negro or black person supposedly telling him that he's the God. But at the same breath, he's saying, I'm not saying he's like black. I'm just saying he's like olive. You know what I mean? Like the thin crust pizza type of color. You mean like orange? You know what I'm saying? Like tanned? Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Let's not forget that. But here's the angle that I always find people to take advantage of. It almost seems like this is a wishful galore of a self-righteous, loving of self type of deal in certain people. And you want to so-called bring Bible stuff and piece together things and use some milk scriptures to prove color in the Bible. But they cannot prove nothing else. They go to so-called color in the Bible, supposedly the curses, and that's it. And a few verses that say some weird shit. So let's dig into this whole thing. If they're claiming they're not Hamitic, then who the fuck are they? Okay, so now, this guy, servant of Yahweh, Martin, he's going to go and, it's going to be his turn, I guess, first, or he's going to introduce himself. And then this other dude's going to come in, and that's when I'm going to bring up some books. Now, I'm going to speed up the process with this brother because I think he could have just gotten to the point quicker, but he read almost like a whole chapter, which I didn't really like. But I'm interested in this particular part of this other guy here because it uses material that if you read, you could debunk his shit. Easy, simple. All right, so let's listen in real quick because I've had enough of that junko, man. Curly Sue there. Probably God knows what else he was dreaming in his dream of his. Knowing these people, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
In a 3-minute opening, state their position, and then we're going to get on with the debate. So I'm going to give the floor to Yah to introduce himself, a brief opening, 2-3 minutes, and then I'll turn the floor over to your opponent. He's going to introduce himself, and then we'll get this debate started. I'll turn the floor over to you guys.
You got the floor, Yah.
Yah, you got the floor. Bring him up on the big screen.
Yah, you there? All right, you got to mute your mic, Yah.
Israel and Kingdom of Judah, the Kahan. I'm a student.
You got the floor.
My name is Martin. I'm from the Akkad. I'm a student of the eldest priest of the nation of Israel and Kingdom of Judah, the Kahan, Kwana Lawa, the teacher of righteousness of this era. I want to start off by saying I give all praises to Yahweh, first off, for giving us another day of life on this earth, and for giving us a teacher of righteousness, that's Joel 2:23, so that I would be able to have this debate today and know all the information, to be able to be, so that the elect of Israel might be blessed with hearing some of these Torah scriptures. And in this debate, I plan to show you that the Africans that you see all the black people are in fact the Hamites of the Bible, the sons of Ham, Noah's son. And that's basically it for my opening.
All right.
Hey, Uncle said y'all had dropped off, so we waiting on y'all to come back. I think the had died. He about to come right back.
All right, Namisha.
I wrote.
Brother, you can go right in.
All right, let me see what else I got written for this introduction. I said I'm gonna prove that the Africans are none other than the biblical Hamites with Torah scriptures, with the Dead Sea Scrolls, Book of Jubilees, where I will show the lands promised to the children of Ham were in fact the lands of Africa. In this debate, I plan to show that the lands of Africa is indeed the inheritance of Ham, the son of Noah. The reason why this is important is because for the last 2,000 years we had Edomites pretending to be the children of Israel, namely the Amalekites, and now we have Hamites claiming to be the tribes of Levi and Judah.
There he makes a very good point, and I want to emphasize his point to take time to show you why you keep seeing this twice. Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 talk the same way. I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogues of Satan. Now, we know that the Bible can be repetitive, but it typically doesn't say the same thing in the next chapter, unless it's making an emphasis. But it's talking to the church of where first? Of Ephesus, and then to the church of Sardis. So we're talking about two different churches dealing with the same stuff. Revelation 3:9, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know what I have, and to know that I have loved thee. Now we see a certain type of people that for some odd reason, they like certain people kissing their feet. You know what I'm saying? So again, it makes kind of a good point. So let's go.
Okay. I guess the foundation has been set. The premise has been laid. The Africans, as we know it today, quote unquote, according to the biblical text, are the Hamites of the Bible. And of course, we're going to get Yah, who is taking the opposing position. Yah, are you there? You got 3 minutes to give a brief introduction, lay your premise, and we get ready to get it in. Put him up on the big screen.
Let me the mic, y'all.
We're gonna disprove the whole narrative that they give the connotation that they use towards blackness, to use it as a derogatory term, and we're gonna see where this come from. Was this thing actually that the things in the Torah, or are these interpretations of men? I think
First, I want to say this, that nobody gives anybody names. People tend to carry them themselves, and you use it so much that eventually it sticks to you. Yeah, it's kind of like there's a difference between you wanting to carry on that name, and then it becomes a connotation, to the difference where somebody says like illegal alien, right? They automatically look at a so-called Mexican or indigenous individual. See what I'm saying? That's not a that's not like I want that type of title. That's something that they implemented on me. There's a difference between that and being called one because you want to call yourself that, and then all of a sudden now it's a problem. It's not derogatory until you make it derogatory. Let's go.
I think that's the biggest deception.
Go ahead.
Oh, he was giving y'all 3 minutes, y'all.
You got 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm strongly going to disprove them, and it's not me. It's really just the facts that prove themselves. When you think of black, what do people think of? Well, it's a lot of videos that circulate when they did like a little studies on kids, that when they asked what the good dial was, they would pick up the white dial, and when they asked what the bad dial was, they would pick up the black dial. And that connotation, that narrative has been pushed through Christianity, established with all the white angels, these black kids don't get to see themselves be great and the images of who they truly are. And it's a reason for that. And so I'm going to disprove these narratives, these false narratives, that try to break our connection to our roots tonight.
So in case nobody caught it, he said Esau's narrative. So he's calling him an Edomite. Okay? Because if they don't believe that they're Hamitic, they're not pushing Japhetic, not this angle. They're claiming that they're aiming that shit to the other people. So remember, we have particular departments here in a sense of people that believe. Hey, sorry, I'm a little getting cold. I turned on the heater right now because it's cold over here. So that's why I'm talking a little funny right now. So we have certain sects within this wobble BHI crap, right? That some believe that we're Hamitic, some are claiming that we're Japhetic, and some are claiming that we're Edomites. Like they cannot make up their fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? So be mindful of this, that he snuck that shit in there. Oh, Esau, I'm gonna prove the Esau's terminology. So he's saying, oh, they're calling us black or Negro or Hamitic because it's a racist terminology. No. The only way that people can come to that conclusion, if you really are about the scriptures, is by using scripture, using history to prove a point. And then we're gonna show you guys through your own material and your own people that you are calling yourselves this. No one else did. You guys did. Let's go.
Right.
That's the opening round, ladies and gentlemen, the presentation of both debaters establishing their premise. Of course, in the debate setting, those that are pro the position always have the opportunity to establish themselves and the position first. Yeah, I'm sorry. Tell me your name one more time. Marlon. Martin, I'm gonna call you Martin. Sorry, my bad. So Martin, as soon as you're ready, Wavy got you up on the big screen. I'm gonna say start, and you got 15 minutes to in this first round to get it in. Wavy, start the time.
All right, the first thing I want to start with, bring some Torah into this. Exodus chapter 11, verse 7. But against the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, against man or beast. Let ye may know that Yahweh does put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. And we know that the Egyptians are African. Egypt is in Africa. And here we see in the Torah, it says that Yahweh made a difference between the Egyptians and the nation of Israel.
So he makes a good point, and I actually like that scripture that he went to, because technically, I think universally, historically, and even, I don't know how other way you can put it, everybody knows that Egypt is part of Africa, and it's been well accepted that Egypt or Misrahim has been part of that understanding. You can't get away from that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you want some of that, but then you don't want some of that when the rest of it comes with it. Let's go.
Now, if we go to Exodus chapter 2, verse 5, Exodus chapter 2, and it says, and the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside when she saw an ark among the flags, and she sent her maid to go fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept, and she had compassion on him, and she said, this is one of the Hebrew children. So here you can see Moses as a baby, and Pharaoh's daughter knew the difference between a Hebrew child and an African child. Okay, now we're gonna go to the Book of Jubilees, and we're gonna see what the land of inheritance for Ham was.
So I like that he went to chapter 8, but I think he took too long in that chapter, to be honest with you. I think he read too much. So let me kind of get to it real quick for you guys. He goes to chapter 8 here, and he's talking about the division of the world, right? The three parts, part Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So he goes into this whole chapter, and then that's when he's talking about the actual, separation of the nations, right? Here you see Ham, and this is a land that came for Ham, the portion which was he was to occupy, right? So explains that. So he reads all that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of what he's reading, because he kind of goes a little bit kind of long on that. So let me get to, hold on. Let him explain right here. All right, let's go.
And it reaches south of the garden and east of the whole land of Eden and the whole east, and it turns east. Proceedeth, let me see. This portion came forth for Shem, and his sons, that they should possess it forever, and his generations evermore. And Noah rejoiced that this portion came forth for Shem and his sons, and he remembered all that was spoken with his mouth in the prophecy that was said. Blessed be Yahweh, God of Shem, and may Yahweh dwell in the dwellings of Shem. And he knew that the Garden of Eden is the Holy of Holies, the dwelling of the land of Mount Sinai, the center of the desert of Mount Zion, the center of the navel of the earth. And these three were created as holy places facing each other. And he blessed the God of gods and put the word of Yahweh in his mouth, and the lost of the waters of the sea. That today you see a lot of European people and what they would call Edomites in those lands. That's because the Edomites invaded the lands of Japheth. They mixed with some of those people, and they kicked up those Japhites out, and they took their lands. And all the land, as you see in the book of Jubilees, to the south belongs to Ham. And it says that it's his lands forever. And the lands in the center, in the Middle East, those are the lands of Shem that are forever. And that's just the book of Jubilees. Now we're going to go into the book of, Genesis. All right, because now we're going to start.
Here's where I think he could have continued, but he chose not to. So let me take you to where I would have least further gone, because here we also see in chapter 9, in regards to the division portions. So here we see in chapter 9 in Jubilees, and Ham divided amongst his sons. The first portion came forth to Cush towards the east. Cush is understood to be Ethiopia. All of a sudden, Cush is okay to be Ethiopia, meaning Africa. Mizraim or Egypt is okay to be Africa. But then the rest of Africa ain't Ham no more? What are we doing? It says for Cush towards the east, and to the west of him, meaning next to him. So if you're in, let's say, in New York, the west of you is this side, coming closer to the west, right? And the west of him, that means the west, I'm sorry, and to the west of him, it's put. So then they're coming closer, let's say, towards Texas. First they started in New York. Now they're, let's say, in Chicago, for example, with Mizraim. Now they're talking about now they're coming into, let's say, Arizona, right, so to speak. And to the west of him, to the west thereof, on the sea for Canaan. That would be West Africa, okay? You have to understand these things. If you think you are not Hamites, then who are you? Are we just going to go by science or by Bible? We need to know. And Shem also divided amongst his sons, and the first portion came forth for Ham and his sons to the east of the river Tigris till it approached to the east. And now he's talking about Shem's portion. So now here we go in chapter 10, in verse 28, we see what occurred. It says, in Ham, this is chapter 10, verse 28. Then his sons went into the land which he was to occupy from chapter 9. Remember? From given in chapter 8, which he acquired as his portion in the land of the south. And Canaan saw that the land of Lebanon of the river of Egypt, that it was very good. This is where Jerusalem is, right? All of currently is Syria, Libya, Syria, all that region in Israel today. And he dwelt in the land of Lebanon, eastward and westward, from the border of Jordan and from the border of the sea. And Ham, his father, and Cush and Mizraim, his brother, said to him. Now, I want to pause you guys for a second, because what you're starting to see is, if you believe in the Bible, then you would know that based on what Genesis says, what does Genesis 9 say? God blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful, right? But here we see that people are talking about Noah's descendants, Canaan, the nation's descendants from Noah, Nimrod. We see a Nimrod in there, right? The Tower of Babel now. Now here's what we see, people all of a sudden working together to supposedly reach the heavens. So now we see people separating, correct? Okay. If they separated from that region, then that region was basically, remember what happened in the Tower of Babel? Babylonia, right? So everything originated from that region, if you believe in the Bible, not Africa. So if you believe in the Bible, you cannot go and say that it all originated from Africa. Now you're saying that the Bible came out of Africa. And now you got to prove that everything occurred in Africa. Because if you don't believe this, then it makes no sense. The Tower of Babel is Babylon, Babylonia, the Ur of the Chaldees. You want to know? Where? Okay. Where is Babylonia? Iraq. Damn. See? Right there. Boom. Babylon. So everything originated here, if you believe the Bible. Okay, so those are the facts. So this is probably why you're not embracing this, and you don't want to fully embrace it. Partially, maybe, but not fully, because it says here, and Canaan saw that the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt, that it was very good, meaning what? Here. So as they departed from the Tower of Babel, when all the nations spread about, scattered after Phaleg, okay? The nations were divided their portions. They all went their way. Who was going? Ham was going east. Japheth was going north. Shem was going to stay here. So as Ham and his sons are going this way, Canaan liked what he saw here. Verse 30, and Ham and his father and Cush and Mizraim, his brother, said to him, you have settled in a land which is not yours. Where? Canaan. They were coming from here, out of here. Not Africa. You have settled in a land which is not yours, and which did not fall to us by lot. So they understood that God does not change. When does God change? Do not do so, for if you do so, you and your sons will fall in the land and be a curse through sedition. Be a curse, meaning cursed through sedition. For by sedition you have settled, and by sedition will your children fall, and you shall be rooted out forever. Dwell not in the dwellings of Shem, for to Shem and to his sons did come by their lot. Where? This here. So if you believe in the Bible, then you need to stop assuming that it's originating out of Africa, because it does not. The Ur of the Chaldees, Babylonia, is here, not in Africa. Now, when we see this, dwell not in the dwellings of Shem, for to Shem and his sons they did not come by lot. Okay, that's one point. How can we confirm this to be true? Because look, here's how you confirm it. Wisdom of Solomon tells you something about certain people. In Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 1, watch this. For thine incorruptible spirit is in all things. Therefore, chastity thou them little by little that offend, and warneth them by putting them in remembrance, wherein they have offended, and that leaving their wickedness they might believe on thee, O Lord. So he gave Canaan a chance. This was when everybody, in a sense, still got a chance. Seriously. I'm not lying to you. This is when Noah, Shem, Japheth, and Ham still knew the laws, because Noah taught the laws to them. And they were teaching their families. After Phaleg, we saw the scattering. And many other religions started occurring. Therefore, tested thou them little by little that offended, and warneth them by putting them in remembrance wherein they have offended, that leaving their wickedness they might believe on thee, O Lord. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy land. He's talking about Canaan. The Most High allowed it. It wasn't by chance. So what are we doing now? Nobody's questioning how Canaan was there in the first place. Whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices. That's gonna hurt. So then the Most High said, wait a minute, you can do it? That's fine, I'll give you a chance. Wait, what are you doing? Why you worshiping witchcraft? What are you doing? Like Druidism, Ishtar, Egyptian concepts, all of those gods that they have. I think they have like 13 of them or 15. I don't remember. I have a picture of this. It says, and also those merciless murderers of children. So this Canaan nation, this Canaanite nation, which had several sons, like 7 or 9, were merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh and feasts of blood. sounds like, let's say, when they used that concept on us when they arrived from 1492, remember, with their priests out of the midst of idolatrous crew. If you read about what Druids used to do, it was pretty crazy. It says the parents that killed with their own hands souls destitute of help, that the land which thou esteemeth above all others would receive a worthy colony of God's children. Nevertheless, even thou didst spare it as men. Nevertheless, even those thou spared as men, and didst send wasps, front runners in thy host to destroy them little by little. So he's giving them a chance here. How do we know it's them? Wisdom of Solomon 12:11, to get to the point. For it was a cursed seed from the beginning. Neither did it thou for the fear of any man give them pardon for those things wherein they sinned. Who was the cursed seed from the beginning? Canaan. Now, let's not forget what it's talking about here, giving an indication of what's going on here. Then we go back to Jubilees 10 and 20 until Jubilees 28, verse 32. Cursed are you, and cursed shall you be beyond all the sons of Noah. By the curse which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the Kadesh judge, and the presence of Noah our father. But he did not listen to them, and dwelt in the land of Lebanon, from Hamath to the entering of Egypt, he and his sons until this day. For this reason, the land is called Canaan. So let's not forget what's going on here. So I like that he goes there, but I think he took a little longer. Let's listen to him a little bit, and then we'll move on.
Start seeing where the sons of Noah, where they come about. It says Genesis 10:8, and Cush begot Nimrod, and he began to be a mighty one on the earth. You see, Cush is Ethiopia. So you see, Cush is Ethiopia, and he begot Nimrod, and Nimrod was the one that started Babylon. So we go to Genesis 10:10, and the beginning of his kingdom was Babel and Iraq and Akkad and Calneh and the land of Shinar. Genesis 10:13, and Mizraim, that's Egypt, begot Ludim and Arim and Lehabim and Nephtuim. These are all Hamites. Genesis 10:14, and Pathizim and Calcium, out of whom came the Philistines of Captorim. All right, so that's where the Philistines came. They're out of Egyptian stock.
3-minute warning. 3-minute
okay,
warning.
Cool. All right, cool.
All right, so he's almost done. Let's just get to what this other guy's going to say. All right, here we go.
Excellent job in that biblical narrative. As soon as you pop on the big screen, I'm going to say start, and your 15-minute goes in. Ready? Time. Unmute your mic. I'm gonna pause your time. Unmute your mic.
Unmute your mic, yeah.
Already share your screen.
I'm unmuted now. I had
we can hear you now.
Okay, let me go back to the screen now.
Yeah, as soon as you share your screen, time goes and kick back in.
All right, I'm ready to get it. I could tell that it's really just time to educate the brother. I really just thankful for the bill tonight. So I hope I can get a brother some edification and anybody else that's listening. But let's get it. The pseudo-official belief that blacks are being hound. Genesis chapter 9, verse 25.
Okay, first I want to say this. He's quoting Jubilee 7. Okay, now this guy shouldn't have done this. I don't know why he kept putting what they posted here, because we can't read the whole entire thing. So he's talking about Jubilee 7. He quotes what the other brother just had actually read. Okay, so let's continue.
And he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant, singular, a servant of servants shall he, singular, be unto his brother." Now, moving further, we will go to Jubilees chapter 10, verse 4. Let's go to verse 4, verse chapter 7, verse 4. And it says, and Ham knew that his father had cursed his younger son, and he was displeased that he had cursed his son, singular, not his nation, none of that, just his son. All right, let's move it on. The curse of Canaan began to be interpreted as the curse of Ham, primarily during the 16th and 17th centuries, when the European Christians started associating Ham with black people and used the biblical story to justify the slavery and misinterpretation of the original text. In Genesis, which only mentions a curse of Canaan, Ham's son, not directly on Ham himself, not on nobody else, y'all, just on his son. That's it. You know, so in the Holocaust, the legal text, the term Canaanite slave is used generically for a non-Jew Gentile held in bondage by an Israelite. According to Jewish law, such slaves should undergo a form of conversion. So anybody that was enslaved to the so-called Jewish people or should be called a Canaanite slave, no matter where they're from. This is something that was used in a Holocaust. Y'all can look at it.
So this is where there's obviously education needed from first of all, I guess you could say both ends in a way. One, for just getting to the point quicker and having more bullets available, and two, for saying what you're saying. It makes no sense. Because first of all, Canaan is not just a person, okay? Canaan is not just a person. He cursed Canaan. And when he cursed Canaan, Canaan is a development of a branch of seeds, meaning his family. Because Canaan did have children. So if you don't know the Bible, this is where it gets confusing for y'all, right? Canaan, it says your Genesis 10:15, and Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, Heth, and Jebusites, and the Amorite, and the Girgasites, and the Hivites, and the Archites, and the Sinites, and the Arvadites, and the Semerites, and the Hamathites. And afterwards, with the families of Canaanites spread abroad. He cursed certain people, which is why you have certain books telling you certain things. It says here, Judges 3:1. Now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel had not known all the wars of Canaan. So is Canaan a man? No, it's the nation of his children. Only the generation of the children of Israel might know to teach them war, at least such as before knew nothing thereof, namely the 5 lords of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites, who was that? Zidonians, the Hivites that dwell among the Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal-Hamon unto the entering of Hamath. You see? So the Canaanites, here, the children, and the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites. That's verse 5. Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites. You see them? You see this? This is what he's talking about. It's not just one person. Not just one person. Okay? It's his children. Let's go.
Moving further, when we look at the definition of Ham, as y'all see, the etymology of it, it comes from the word calm. Y'all see that at the top? Calm. Calm. Y'all see that? All right. So, Ham, from a Semitic field, heat, darkness, blackness. It demonstrates of these all the terms of the misunderstood ancient Hebrew linguistics that can be traced back no earlier than a century. I mean, contrary to the assumption of the Islamic, the Christian, the Jewish exegetes, G argues persuasively that the biblical name Ham has no relation or has not at all any notion to the blackness and as it now is unknown etymology. This comes from the Curse of Ham. This is a actual book. If you want to read it, you can read it. Let me get this off my screen real quick. Hold on, y'all. I don't know why I always have.
And I just want to let you know, in case you forget, that in the Geneva Bible, it doesn't call him, it actually uses, instead of Cush, right? Like we see in the King James, it uses Ethiopian. Because Ethiopian at that time, Ethiop was meaning burnt, black, dark skin. The name was changed as time went on. And people know and understand that Ham, Cam, Shem, Cam, Hamitic, it comes from that. What you guys teach and believe. Let's continue.
Have it on my screen. All right, because I want to be able to read that. So let me get that off. All right, sorry about that. So let's get it. The curse of Ham, a phrase, a passage. Genesis chapter 9, verse 18. that neither uses the Hebrew word for black, Cushi, nor curses of Ham, have exercised enormous influence on the history of slavery in the Western world, whose major religion view themselves as grounded as in its text of the Old Testament. Let's get it. This right here is from the Gisenius Hebrew Chaldees Lexicon Old Testament. This is a very old book. It says the name. You see where I got it highlighted. A name of Egypt. Look at it. Look at some history of that. It says the Hebrews suppose Ham, the son of Noah, to have been the ancestor of the Egyptians. Now let's go to look at Ham from the Compact Bible Dictionary. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably 96 years before the flood, one of 8 persons through the flood. He became the progenitor of all the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, and the Libyans, and the Canaanites. So not the Negroes. He's not the forefather of the Negroes, but wait, the Negroes stay in Africa.
So here goes another lack of education. This is where the fundamentals just go out the window. When you're using snippets, or you think you learn, or you know something, and then all of a sudden you get combated with some other facts. Let me show you something real quick. This is called the Hamitic hypothesis. Its origin and function in the time perspective. The anthropological and historical literature dealing with Africa abounds with reference to the people called the Hamite, quote unquote, as used in these writings, designate an African population supposedly and distinguished by its race, Caucasian. Don't let that confuse you. And its language family, from the Negro inhabitants of the rest of Africa below the Sahara. There exists a widely held belief in the Western world that everything of value ever found in Africa was brought by these Hamites. Which ones? The Caucasians. So what that book is actually telling them is that they're not even respecting the so-called Negro. It's beneath the Hamites. Because they understand that Hamitic nations did bring a lot of understanding. This belief, often referred to as the Hamitic hypothesis, is a convenient explanation for all the signs of civilization found in Black Africa. It was these Caucasoids, we read, who taught the Negro how to manufacture iron, and who were so politically sophisticated that they organized and conquered territories into highly complex states with themselves as the ruling elite. Seriously.
That's gonna hurt.
That's what you use. You are using a racist book or a racist explanation to combat your narrative. This hypothesis was preceded by another elaborate Hamitic theory, the earlier theory, which gained currency in the 16th century. Wow, how interesting, right? Was that the Hamites were black savages, natural savages, and Negroes. This identification of the Hamite with the Negro, a view which persisted throughout the 18th century, served as a rationale for slavery. It served as a rationale for slavery. So does that mean that even before Ethiopia or Ethiops, meaning Cushi, or Mizraim, meaning Egypt, was not Africa anymore? And if people back then based things not of science, but of the Bible, who was Shem, who was Ham, and who was Japheth? And we understand that Hamitic nations were in Africa, even in that understanding of that time. Maybe they weren't using it usually in these, they weren't rationalizing it with slavery. That's what the white Anglo, and not only him, the Swarthy ones did. But every nation has been enslaved. That's why there's laws in the Bible about slavery when you enslave other nations too, as Israelites did. But don't forget that everybody's been enslaved. You can be enslaved as a white, you can be enslaved as a Negro, you can be enslaved as a brown person, as a yellow, it doesn't matter. We just happen to see that certain people use this consciousness to make it even more known. But it wasn't just certain people that were teaching this that were white. There was black folks that we know from historical books that had slaves as well. And they were using this Hamitic hypothesis too. Why is that not brought about? Because nobody likes to hear truth. Using biblical interpretation in support of its tenets. Every nation got enslaved. That doesn't mean that everybody's a Hebrew. The image of the Negro deteriorated in the direct proportion of the growth of importance of slavery. Yes, true. Very true. Napoleon's expedition to Egypt in 1798 became a historical catalyst that provided the Western world with the impetus to turn the Hamite into a Caucasian. Wow. That's the Hamitic theory that this guy just explained to us. So that's what he read right here. So what you're saying is that you're not even of the nations of the Most High. This is like that conscious, that belief of the pre-Adamites, savages. That's what you use. Be mindful of it. Let's go.
On the Gisenius Hebrew Chaldees Lexicon Old Testament. This is a very old book. It says the name. You see where I got it highlighted. A name of Egypt. Look at it. Look at some history of that. It says the Hebrews suppose Ham, the son of Noah, to have been the ancestor of the Egyptians. Now let's go to look at Ham from the Compact Bible Dictionary. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably 96 years before the flood, one of 8 persons through the flood. He became the progenitor of all the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, and the Libyans, and the Canaanites. So not the Negroes. He's not the forefather of the Negroes. But wait, the Negroes stay in Africa. Now let's just go into some bigger terms. Negroid, less commonly called Congoid. It is an obsolete racial grouping of various people indigenous to Africa, south of the area which is stretched from the southern Sahara Desert, and in west to the African Great Lakes. And it's been disproven concepts of the race by biological category. Moving on. With the rise of the modern genetics on the concept of distinct human races in the biological sense has become obsolete in 2019. The American Association of Biological Anthropologists stated that race has not been proven accurate.
Wait, I think he just read over. Did he read over that? What is obviously in front of him? Hold on a second. Let me see this.
Accurate in the past, and it remains inaccurate. Biological. South of the area which is stretched from the southern Sahara Desert, and in west to the African Great Lakes. And it's been disproven concepts of the race by biological category. Moving on. With the rise of the modern genetics on the concept.
See, family, do you see that? Do you see what I'm saying? Man, come on, man.
Chapter 58.
Why do you guys have to lie? What? Hold on. This is what I don't like about this. He ignores the paragraph in the middle. The concept of dividing humans in 3 races called Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Negroid. Oh, and in parentheses, originally named Ethiopian. We see Ethiopians in the Bible. So why did he not read this? Because it does not fit the narrative, meaning that, wait a minute, hold on a second. You see, it says Ethiopia, and we know that it says it in the Bible, but let's continue.
Concept of distinct human races in the biological sense has become obsolete in 2019. The American Association of Biological Anthropologists stated that race has not been proven accurate, or let me not misread this. Race has not provided an accurate representation of the human biological variations. It has never been accurate in the past, and it remains inaccurate when it's referencing contemporary human populations. Now, let's go to this highlighted part. Another source. While the Hamites of northern Africa were seen as Caucasoid, Australians, Melanesians, and Nigeritos were seen as Negroid subraces. So it's a difference between the races in Africa. They were seen as Negroid subraces, although living alongside living outside of the African continent. The only subraces attributed to Africa were the Negroes and the Hottentots. If you want to know what the Hottentots is, you can look it up. But anyway, in the 19th century, the term Hamitic was acquired. It acquired a new anthropological meaning, as the scholars had asserted that they could discern a Hamitic race that was distinct from the Negroid populations of sub-Saharan Africa. And this is, if you want to look the source up, this is written by a scholar anthropologist, Richard Lepsius.
So even he himself is using the Hamitic theory or right hypothesis, not realizing that that's exactly why they wrote that in the book, and he's thinking that it's a plus, and it's not. It's literally saying they're calling y'all savages. It's excluding you from Shem, Japhet, and Ham. Basically, you're not even human. You're subhuman, and you're using that concept. Now he goes off and uses like Cam explanation. Doesn't give necessarily the reference. Yes, Cam is another spelling for Ham. I don't know where he got that from. Please show your references. Then he goes into the explanation of the Negro, but it doesn't always apply to the African people, because in Spanish it's negro, like moreno. And we use Webster's dictionary. Now he mentions here, but their language indicates that they originated in Hindustan, the Gypsies, a reproachful name for dark complexion. For dark complexion, it's like apodos in Spanish, right? Let's go.
Moving forward, that definition that we seen at calm, which is ham, calm. We see the definition of calm. But the funny thing about this calm, look what it says. It says a word of much fame, importing with the English, and in the title of, and it says in the title of the foreign princes of Tartary. If you know anything about Tartary, that's in Russia. So these people, some of these people are in Russia, and it says, and likewise applied to the principle of the nobleman of Persia. All right, calm. In the second, just in the geography, a town of the Bavarian Palatinate situated on the river, and a famed name about 25 miles north of the Retibian. Now look, yes, calm is another spelling of ham. Now, the brother brought up the olive skin of the Negroes. Now, it's very important that we know, you see all of these colors right here that's used, all of them colors are olive.
Okay, so let's clear this up. You cannot get this color unless you mix with the white man. So stop saying that shit. And all of a sudden now you guys can bring up all these kind of colors and shit. That's bullshit. Stop lying. Just like white folks, pure-blooded white folks cannot bring a mixture of these colors. Pure-blooded black folks, so-called black folks, cannot bring a mixture of that color. And you can't go and say mulatto. So don't go there with that shit. Now all of a sudden you want to use Negro, Tani, and then copper color. When is it convenient or not convenient? Let's continue, please. Come on, let's continue.
Every last one of them colors. So it can go from dark to light. Let's differentiate it. So the Negro, and this is coming from the Botanica Dictionary, the Encyclopedia Botanica Dictionary of 1771. The Negro definition: is it remarkable that our common people retain the exact Latin pronunciation of this word, nigger, a native descendant of a black race of men in Africa. The word is never applied to the tawny or the olive color inhabitants. So there's a difference again between the tawny or the olive color inhabitants there. But let's read even further down. It says the objective of the yellowish dark color, like things, or tanned, or persons who are sunburnt, as a tiny Moor or a Spaniard or tiny sons of Numidia, the tiny lion. All right, moving on. The term gypsy. Let's see where the term gypsy come from. Term gypsy. Why is this important? You're about to see. This is coming out of the Botanica, again, from 1771. The gypsy race are a race of vagabonds which invest in Europe, Africa, and Asia, strolling about, subsisting mostly about the theft and the robbery and the fortune telling. The name is supposed to be corrupted by 5 minutes as they were taught to have come from Egypt, but their language indicates that they originate in the Hindustan, a reproachful name for a dark complexion. So these people originated over in India, but they had a dark complexion. Will we say that they were Ham? See, these things don't make sense. All right, here we present the genome worldwide DNA for 6 individuals in the form of Eastern and Southern and South Central Africa. I mean,
where's Ethiopia? Once again there, right? Ethiopia is once again there. All right, let me show you something real quick. I thought I sent it over. What's going on? Taking forever, homie. Oh, that's why. I had mentioned that I have a copy of the Geneva Bible, and this is in the Geneva Bible here, okay? You see where it says this is on the very first books of the Geneva Bible. The Garden of Eden, technically the origin of the nations. So it wasn't in Africa. This is why the Bible says that the mother of all, that's Galatians 4:26. If you believe in the Bible, then you need to believe it. Genesis 4:26 talks about that the mother of all is Jerusalem, the center of the earth. Not Africa. This region here. Now, based on the Bible, historically speaking, we see here that says, likewise, Euphrates towards the country of Cush or Ethiopia. So we embrace Cush, we embrace Ethiopia, they're Africa, but then all of a sudden when we say the title of Hamite, even though Ethiopia and Cush is of Ham, that's not applicable. Then it's a problem. Then all of a sudden it's hate. I don't understand why there's certain people that when it is a very painful acceptance that you have to swallow, then all of a sudden it's hate talk. Or Arabia was called Gibbon. You see this? So Cush or Ethiopia. So at one point it was called Cush, and another point it was called Ethiopia, then another point it was called Ham. No, they're not. That's for sure. They're not considered. They're not even called Jews. I don't know why they call them that. They're Khazars. So again, this is where we have to consider truth and debunk lies. So let's not ignore this. Let's stop ignoring it. You want to dance around the facts. You can't do that no more. Ethiopia, that's Africa. If Ethiopians or Cushites of the sons of Cush, who were the sons of Cush? Are we forgetting? Give me a second. Let me see if I can just find it real quick. Hold on. Get out of here. Get out of here, Doug. Look, boom. Ham, right? Here we go. Genesis 5:32. Here, hold on a second. Is it hold on. Okay, here it goes. Is it here then? It says it's 6:10. Where's Ham? Genesis 7. Hold on a second here. Is it 8? Hold on a second here. I'm going to look quick. Noah's descendants. Here we go. Ham, the father of Canaan. We saw that again. Noah's descendants. Japheth, Ham, had Cush. Mizraim put in Canaan. And what does the Bible say that Cush was? Or who is? Ethiopia. Why are we ignoring that now? Why is that a problem? Once again, Geneva Bible. Okay? Cush or Ethiopia. All right, let's just move on. I don't think I have to re-emphasize that point. Let's go.
Spanning from the past approximately 18,000 years. I mean, increasing the data and the quality for 15 previously published ancient individuals in analysis. These alongside the data from 13 other published ancient individuals. The ancient of these individuals, they study around an area that's modeled geographically structured, mixture of 3 highly divergent sources. So they found 3, basically, when you go into this, they found 3 different types of skulls lining up the Bible. You know, this is the ancient DNA. Y'all can look at this for yourself. You can look at the map, whatever. But pushing for time. So 21st, 2016. A single migration from Africa populated the whole world study spine. So these people, look, the Higgs.
Testing 1, 2, 3. So here's where it becomes a problem. So all of a sudden now, and see, it's because this right here, bro, you need to stop doing that, man. If you're going to do this live, you need to stop putting people's posts, man. When they're doing a live class, you need to wait for the post to be like when they're done posting. So here he's talking about Maya. Then he mentions his Hyksos. Josephus debunked that notion against Apion. You guys need to read your history, man. Josephus debunks this hypothesis of Hyksos. Benithos wrote about that. So if you debunk Josephus, then you debunk a lot of other stuff. But here he says all of a sudden everybody now migrated from Africa, but then he's using the Bible in some cases to prove certain things. So which is it? Are you a Hebrew? Are you not? Are you saying we're just all originated out of monkeys and then we became humans? Is this what we're going with now? What are we believing in? Let's go.
So if you look, every civilization has black roots. I don't care where you want to go and how you want to play it. There's no way everybody comes from black roots. That's what this is showing. So the Bible is not a lie. So when we say the whole world is Ham, now let's go on. Acts chapter 13, verse 1. Let's get it from the New Living Translation. Among the prophets are the teachers of the church, Antioch of Syria, where Barnabas and Simeon were called the black man of Lucius from Cyrene. If you know anything about Cyrene, that's Libya, ladies and gentlemen. That's in Africa, Libya. So going on to I'm gonna jump over here to the King James version. In the King James version, it reads, "It not just you see he was a black man in the New Living Translation." In the King James version, it reads, it said, "Now there is a church in Antioch of certain prophets and teachers, Barnabas and Simeon, called Niger, of Lucius and Cyrene." And if you don't believe me that it said the word nigger, listen for yourself. Okay, let's get it. Let's get it. Now, what is that? It says a black surname of Simeon. This is from the Eastern Bible Dictionary. It says a black surname of Simeon. He was probably so called black from his. He was probably so called from his dark complexion. Now, we see a so-called what they would say Israelite. I don't agree with their name, but Israelite saying he's from Libya and saying that this man is so-called black, but he's a Jew. All right, so let's get it. All right, this is the racism.
So here's what it is. So are you calling yourself a Hebrew? Is that what it is? Why don't you say it? So now he's going to read. I don't know if you. Let me see if he reads this. Okay, let's go.
Apart from Africa from 1930. It says, apart from the relatively late Semitic influence, the civilizations of Africa are civilizations of the Hamites in histories recorded of these peoples and their interactions with two other African stocks, the Negro and the Bushman. Whether this influence was exerted by the highly civilized Egyptians or by such wider pastoralists or represented by the present day of Baya or Somali. I mean, the incoming Hamites and the pastoral Europeans arrived with a wave after wave. I mean, better armed, well as quicker witted with the dark agricultural Negroes.
So again, he's using in its own self, debunking himself. First, he says that, Ham, the originator of the dark race, except the Negro, we're not them. Then he says here, with the other two African stocks, the Negro and the Bushman. So there he does include the Negro as part of Africa. But you see, this hypothesis still is dissing you all by saying you're not even people. The incoming Hamites were the pastoral Europeans, better armed as well as quicker witted than the darker agricultural Negroes who were part of Africans, who Africa was considered the dark land, or the Ethiops, the land of Ethiops, dark-skinned people. Let's continue.
Okay, let's get it. Why is the Israelites being likened to Ethiopians? It's important to note that at the time that they're being likened to Ethiopians, Africa's called Ethiopia. It wasn't called Africa. There's no country called Africa. So when we read the scripture, we have to read it. It says, "Are you not children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Saith the Lord, have I brought you out of Egypt." I have no history of no other race being brought out of Egypt, but the Bantus, I have history.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you something real quick. So again, you brothers that I keep telling you to read. This is why you must read, because he's getting this source, and I don't know why he's using Amos. Again, it's convenient when it's convenient. Here he reads out of a gazetteer of the Old and New Testament, 1838. I mind you, John Parker Lawson. So he's using this to prove, again, I'm not sure what he's doing. He's kind of blurring it, saying we are them, but we're not them. We're not all Hamites. We're not all Canaanites, meaning we're not all slaves. No, we're not. I don't think that's what he's saying, that all black folks are Canaanites. No. Just like there's tribes. You got Mizraim tribes. You have Put tribes, Cush tribes, and you have Canaanite tribes. That's what it means. Okay? So now, this is the interesting part, because a gazetteer of the Old and New Testament, I'm very familiar with that book. This is why I tell you, brothers, to read. This is why I say read, because if you follow and you understand what that book is about, okay, Let me see if I can bring it out here. This is the Scriptures Gazetteer. The same thing, the same book. Okay, you see? The Cushites who cannot therefore be viewed as Ethiopians. Okay, we're going to read into this. All right, so now check this out. Cush. Ethiopians are black, or Cush, C-H-U, Cuss. What up, cuz? A people or region so-called Cush, the eldest son of Ham, the grandson of Noah. In the Vulgate and Septuagint, and by various interpreters, ancient and modern Cush is very generally rendered Ethiopia. Man, it went from several people watching to a bunch of people leaving. Well, it don't matter to me. I did this class because I just had the need to do the class. Whether you guys stick around and listen, it don't hurt my feelings one bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing this for any narrative. I'm not trying to collect dough or anything. So I appreciate it. Hit the link, like, share, and subscribe if you're not on. But if you're quiet, then I just know that you're probably the enemy. Anyways, the land of Cush was probably that district of Arabia in which the sons of Cush first settled, but it is often taken largely for a great tract of country, comprehend much more than the proper territory of the Cushites. You see what I'm saying? So it expands, and it seems like certain words or certain areas have been considered other things, or names have changed. In the same book, mind you, Ham, the land of Ham, is the wildest sense. In the wildest sense, it's Africa. In the same book, he quotes this book here, a gazetteer of the Old and New Testament. That's what I'm quoting you from. I'm getting the same book from them, the Scriptures Gazetteer. That's what it is, the Scriptures Gazetteer of the Old and New. Here it says, you use that source to claim that you're not Ham, but here in that source actually says you are. The wildest sense is Africa, people by Ham, the youngest son of Noah, but differently applied in the sacred writings. Chedorlaomer and the Elite kings smote among the other nations, the Zuzims and Ham, and those people must therefore have inhabited the country between the Moabites and the Ammonites. This is going from the beginning of time. See? We talk about here, let's see, Egypt designated the land of Ham by the psalmist. Ham, says Dr. Sill, signifies burnt or black. And this name was peculiarly significant to the regions allotted to the family. To the Cushites, or children of his eldest son, Cush, were allotted the hot southern regions of Asia, it says, along the coast of the Persian Gulf, Swansea, and the Cushites. So keep in mind that they are talking about what? Listen, let's continue reading. And it says, and the sons of Canaan, Palestine, and Syria, and the sons of Mizraim, Egypt, and Libya, and Africa. You see what I'm saying? The Hamites in general, like the Canaanites of old, were of seafaring race. So here, they only mention the time of Peleg, the scattering. You see what we're talking about here? The scattering. So are you going to say that's Africa? So when are we going to believe the Bible and or in science? All right, that's one point. Let's continue.
We have no other race being brought out of Egypt. But the Bantus, I have history, which is the Negroes, the same people that are in captivity today.
All of the same people that are in captivity today. No, that's not true. We have seen that this country is based on two political powers, blue and red, black and white. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. But yet we can see, right, from actual material in books, from people talking themselves, sharing themselves, who and where certain people come from. This is from a book from Leo Africanus, The Geographical History of Africa. Now, he is of African origin, born in Granada. Keep in mind that this was still when Granada was still owned by Arabs and Moors, people of tawny and light-skinned color. He writes himself, and he says this on chapter 2, verse on page 6. This book is printed in the 1600s and 1600. I bring sources. And this is what your own people say. For all the Negroes, right? You know, like Hamitic or Blackamoors, take the descent from Cush, the son of Cam, Cham, who was the son of Noah. But whatsoever difference between the Negroes and the Tawny Moors, certain it is that they all had one beginning. It says, for the Negroes are descendants of the Philistines. Remember we read that earlier? That Ham, or who had a Philistine child? I'll show you. Watch this. Let me see if I can get it real quick. See? These right here. And the Philistines, right? Boom. We got here the Philistines again. Let me see if I can find them sooner. For the Canaanites and the inhabitants of the land and share this. Give me a second real quick. I just want to go through. Anyways, I saw it earlier, so I think we can just continue. It says here, excuse me, for the Negroes are descendants of the Philistines. And the Philistines of Mizraim, I'm sorry, and the Philistines of Mizraim, the sons of Cush. But the Tawny Moor fetched their pedigree from the Sabians. And it is evident that Sabah was begotten of Ramah, which was the eldest son of Cush. Then he says this, diverse other opinions there be as touching this matter, because they seem not so necessary, we have purposely omitted. He didn't call them Hamites. He didn't call them Canaanites. He called them Philistines, Negroes. This is Leo Africanus. This is in 1838. Leo Africanus is in 1600. And even in this book, you call yourselves that. The Negro Trailblazers. Africa's gift to America. Unexpected faces in ancient America. You use certain books based on this pseudoscientist, but you ignore other pictures. This is the map that I'm talking about. Okay, you can't see it there. So let me show it to you in this better picture. You see this says Jerusalem, the center of the earth. Because that's what the beginning, if you believe in the Bible, that's what it says. I'll show you. Galatians 4:26. It says, but Jerusalem, which is above all, is free, which is the mother of us all. Well, it's crazy. See that? Jerusalem. Bethlehem. That's right there, like Spain. Look. Germania. You see that? Germany. This is where Africa and Spain meet right here. And this is Jerusalem right there in the center. Why are we forgetting these things? All of a sudden now it doesn't matter. This is from that book that he used as well. The what do you call it? The Dictionary Bible. I have the one from 1967. 672, I think. Habala, Septab, Ramah, Septak. They were most located in Arabia. Nimrod likewise said to be the son of Cush. Why? Because that's where the spread originated from. Are we forgetting now? Who are the Canaanites? So he cursed Canaan, but that means his children would be cursed. Not one only. Canaanites, the descendants of him, who occupied a land that did not belong to them. So since the beginning of time, certain nations of people, Canaanites, have always liked the other history. See, so now, okay, so we first are Hamites, then we're Japhites, and now we're Edomites. Y'all make up your minds, bro. I know it hurts your feelings to know the truth. It's not my business to soften up that emotion. That's for you to deal with it. The Canaanites were of Semitic stock. No, that's not true. They're of Hamitic stock, of their father Ham. Just because they went into the land that did not belong to them, they claimed it themselves. That's a different story. So when is it okay? When is it not okay? All of a sudden, here's what they do like to see. Africa, Ham, is in Eden, the ancient old world. This is okay though. You see, put Libya, Mizraim, Cush, Mizraim, put into the west thereof Canaan. We're not lying. See, look, Canaanites equal Caucasians. Oh God, this guy's lost. This is an old, from an old book I got. Actually, Lost Tribes of Myth. From Palestine to India. Check this out. It says here that the religious intercourse of Israelite colonies in the city of the Medes would extend as far as one political and every some activity of the Medo-Persian and Parthian protectionists. Ironclad Yahwists, meaning the people of Yahweh, right, would not be Talmudist. So here we see that there are several synagogues in ancient times in different regions of the land of Shem. From Arabia, all these people here kept the commandments. Black Jews, meaning dark skin, not Afro, not from West Africa, none of that stuff. Maybe somewhat of, like, let's say Egyptian, but not what people keep assuming. Not Wesley Snipe type. Nope, that's not the way it works. Here we see synagogues. Look, synagogue over here. Synagogue right there. Synagogue right there. Synagogue right here. Synagogue right there. Look at this. Mongol Jews, call them. Jews, Mongol, or something like that. I got about 20 minutes left, and then I'm out. Said I would give you guys 2. Look, Hindu Kush. Afghanistan. You see what we're talking about? This is the land of Shem. Now, the other map that I have here, this is the one that IUIC loves to bring out. Hey, look, people. Yeah, but it says the Minion Philistines. It says the compiler of Genesis 10:14 knew that the Philistines and were either Cretans or can't read that. It says, man, I wish I could read that better. Hold on. Maybe I have here, let me see if I can flip this over. Man, why don't I have a better picture? Okay, this is from the book. Okay, it says here, the compilers of Genesis 10:14. Let's read that real quick. I'm showing you historical books. I'm not making this shit up. Genesis 10:14, and Pathrum and Calcium out of the womb, and Philistines, Captharum. Okay. So it says here, the compilers of Genesis 10:14 knew that the Philistines and the other, I don't know, were something in the equator. I remember that. It says, of which came the Philistines and the Castrians. It is not possible on a small map to show all the, I guess, a sub-community of the Philistine communities. You see this? Now, I want to show y'all something, because I know IOIC loves to use this material and claim these are all Jews, right? Well, no, technically not. Because in this book here, by a well-known historian, let me see where you're at. Did I pass it? Hold on a second, family. Here. In this book here, Shlomo Sands, The Invention of the Jewish People, right? He debunks, well, actually, he proves that the Khazars are converts. But he also proves and shows that the North Africans, so-called, or even Central, they were converts as well. The ones that went into Europe and claimed to be so-called Jews, but are not. Yeah, those people too. He spent about maybe 20 pages debunking your asses. So you can claim to be so-called European rulers that you conquered the white man, but then how does that a Bible apply then? If you say you ruled Europe and you conquered the white man and you had him in submission, then how in the world can you apply this scripture right here? Deuteronomy 28:36. And the Lord shall bring thee and thy kings, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. You guys knew them. You all knew the white man. What are you talking about? You have a lot of questions to answer too. But here it debunks it. It proves that these Philistines, so-called Jews, they were just converts. No difference. And those are facts. You can read it here. Matter of fact, this is a funny part. Look, on the left side, on the right side, they never read this. But it says that Jewish kingdom were people that were white Libyans, right? And where? Right here in Central. Now, what's his name? Nate the Snake does not show this. He'll definitely hide that. He won't show that shit, that there were white people here in the center claiming to be Jews. So all these people here, now, I showed you the other map, right? But in this map, there's no synagogues. No synagogues. The Jewish kingdom, supposedly, Jewish, right? But is there synagogues? No. There's a lot of Philistines, but no synagogues. Where are your synagogues if you guys are the Jews? Where is the synagogue? Jewish, I see a lot of Jewish, but then it debunks it over here. And again, you got to know history before you go and assume and say stuff. You need to read this book here called, right here. He debunks Khazars and proves that a lot of Sephardic Jews claim to be Sephardic, right? They don't even, they're not the Jews either, because they didn't even know who they were. If you read the book by, what is it called? It's called A New Voyage to Italy. A New Voyage to Italy, I think I put it in here, expresses how he went around all over Europe to try to determine if these people were the actual people of the Bible. And guess what he found out? That no, they can't prove a damn thing either. He wrote this book in 1739, A New Voyage to Italy, page 42. You got to read this stuff, because if you don't read it, then guess what? You will be confused. And you will be confused, you will be misled, and then all of a sudden you got nothing to show for. That's all I got to show about that guy. So, as a matter of fact, let me see. Shlomo talks about it. Geographical history, we see it. A New Voyage to Italy. The Lost Tribe is a myth, even expresses it as well. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to tell y'all, man. And again, the guy wants to use so-called information, but dude, you're just using the Hamitic hypothesis. It's origin and functions in the time perspective. It's just saying that they're considering you guys not even human. You see, the Hamitic hypothesis is well known to students of Africa. I'm not even calling y'all that, man, below human and shit. I'm just saying, and what I find is the majority of people of African descent are ham, based on the Bible. But if you don't believe that, then you say you're Hebrews, well then show that. How? The Hamitic hypothesis is well known to the students of Africa. It states that everything of value ever found in Africa was brought there by the Hamites, allegedly a branch of the Caucasian race. See this? They're basically calling y'all subhuman. And that's not the case here. But here we have to then reflect on, okay, so you want to go ahead and use that supposedly we're Edomites and Canaanites and Japhites. So then why in the world did people from Europe show up and make sure not to know anything of our people? Why is that even possible? How is that even possible? Let me show you something real quick. give you an example. I got this map, old antique double hemisphere map by the Benitos Arias, Montana, 1571. What does this map say? Let's debunk some more funk real quick, family. And then I'm going to call it a night. I have more to show. I'll probably do part 2 of this on Friday. Okay, so here we have a map, and he's explaining where people are located. And he uses Japhet by numeric numbers. Roman numbers, I'm sorry. Okay, right here. You see? So Japhet, he uses Roman numbers. So where is that located? Mostly here. Right? Mostly there. Japhet. Okay? Now, we go down here, and for Cam or Ham, it uses letters. Okay? Keep that in mind. For example, where they were supposed to be and their origin as well. So here we see letters in certain areas of where? Africa for sure. So C, T, Q, H, S, B. C, T, Q, H, P. Right? So Mizraim, Put, Canaan, Cush. Cush is A. Mizraim is B. Put is C. And then Canaan is D. But where's Canaan? Canaan is nowhere to be found on here, right? Supposedly it's there in D. Okay. Sounds good. And supposedly they're here too. Okay. Sounds good. Now, check this out. How is Shem determined? Shem is found by numbers. So Japhet by Roman letters, Ham by alphabetical letters, Shem by numeric letters or numbers. So where is Shem? Shem is here. You see these numbers? 4, 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 14, 15, 17, 20, right? That's Shem. Elam, Shor, Arphaxad, Lud, Aram, right? We're getting it. Okay, now this gets interesting. So you're like, okay, is that it? No, there's more. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it goes to 16. So where's 16? 16 is all the way up here. You see this? Shem. But now it gets even more interesting. So is that it? No, it's not it. Because if you go here, it says 17, 18, 19. You see that right down the bottom? It says Ophir. 20. Joktan, Jobab, or Sephir. Now, it's still numbers, right? Okay, here we go. The land of Ophir is where? In America. And who's in the land of Ophir? Shem, the seed of Shem. Not Ham, which is based on alphabetical letters. Not Roman letters, which is Japhet. No, it's numbers. Shem. Number 19 in the north, number 19th in the south. 22 is where? Joab and Sepharmaz. So it's claiming that the seed of Shem is even here as well. What are we talking about? Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. If they're considering this the land of Ophir, right? I want to show you something that I actually created to give you an idea of what I saw. I made 3 pictures. The land of Ophir. Okay? I'm going to do this real quickly so we can get through it. I don't want to take too much time on this. So we know that Joktan at one point was also Yucatan, right? So now we see here, this is from a map I have, the map of Persia at that time. We see that it says Joktan. And then Jobab, right? Joktan or Yucatan. Now, we know that Joktan and Ophir was part of that family. Let's get it real quick, just to get to the point. Excuse me. 1 Kings 9:20. Excuse me. 1 Kings 9:28. 1 Kings 9:28. It says here, and there came to Ophir and fetched thence gold, 420 talents, brought to King Solomon. Where's Ophir? Where are they identifying Ophir? Over here. Now, I want to show you something once more. Let's go to First Chronicles 19. I'm sorry, First Chronicles 19. First Chronicles 119. Yep, 119. It says here, and unto Eber were born two sons. The name of one of them was Phaleg, because in this days of the earth was divided. You see that? And his brother's name was Joktan. You see that? And through his lineage, we see on the bottom Ophir. You see this, what we're talking about here? So then Peleg scattering all of that stuff. Okay, it's just where it gets interesting. Now we know that turkeys or peacocks were considered tukis here in America. On my next class, I'll show you. I don't want to lose time. Okay, I don't want to lose. I'll just read it real quick. Second Chronicles 9:21. Watch what it reads real quick. It says here, for the king's ships went to Tarshish with the servants of Huram. Every 3 years, once came the ships of Tarshish, bringing gold, silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. Every 3 years. So they went there, traveled, and went somewhere else as well to bring peacocks. Peacocks. Now we know, I showed you guys a class before, that peacocks, we call them here tukis. And if you don't know this, that the actual translation of peacock, it's tuki. For the sake of time, I don't want to show it. I can do it in my class on Friday. Let me go to Isaiah real quick to get to my point. Isaiah 13:12. So why am I saying Ophir here, and how do we prove that? Okay, I'll show you. Because see, the Most High Man, the way that he deals with you on the spiritual level is amazing. Is Isaiah 13:12, it says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man with the golden wedge of Ophir. You're like, golden wedge of Ophir? What? What are we talking about? So now I'm going to use this. I have to use this. Shoot, I should have just done it before. No, here we go. Okay, watch this. Blue letter Bible. It goes right there. Bam. 3:12. Let's go to tools. The golden wedge of Ophir. Now, you cannot get the golden wedge separate. So you got to go to this word here, wedge, right? You find it here in Joshua 7:21 and 24. But what does that word wedge mean? So the golden wedge of Ophir, right? Check this out. So wedge is this. Wedge is this. Tongue. The golden wedge of Ophir, a tongue-shaped wedge, meaning bay of sea, tongue-shaped. The golden wedge of Ophir, meaning a land that is tongue-shaped in a way, correct? Again, this is my understanding of it. You can believe it or not. You guys do your own work on it. I'm only showing you and proving you who we are according to the Bible before you go off and say we're Hamitic, Hamitic or Japhetic. It's just stupid. But anyways, it says here, what? The golden wedge of Ophir, right? Now, this is Ophir. How do we prove that? I did a picture. This is interesting to me. So I put the skeleton here, okay? Now the skeleton here, and we know that Yucatan and all these regions are Ophir because it's full of gold. So here I showed you a skeleton. Here's a skeleton, the mouth, right? Doesn't like we're like, well, that's the shape. Check this out. Then I made it a little more clear. And now we start seeing the shape of a human skull. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so now that's the second picture. Now this is even getting more interesting. Now check this out. Now you see the skeleton-shaped head, right? So when you open your mouth and you stick out your tongue, you stick your tongue out, the golden wedge of Ophir. Golden wedge of Ophir. So where is Ophir? Here. And what is that golden wedge? You see the kind of, in a sense, a tongue sticking out. Now, again, you can believe it. It's up to you. I'm not saying it's 100. I don't know. But the way that I've been breaking down our book should say a lot to you because I have not lied to you in this channel. And the things that I've said have come about. So with that considered, let me read this again Isaiah 13 and 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir, meaning that rich land of milk and honey. And we know that Ophir has been considered to be in certain areas. Right? Check this out. The land of Ophir has been assigned to the most various points of compass, including Armenia, South Africa, Arabia, West Indies, and Peru. That's why you have to really know what you are talking about. I want to show you this real quick, and then we'll be done with this. I want to just show you this real quick. This is from a book I have called The Conquest, Moctezuma, Cortez, and the Fall of Old Mexico. On page 175, it confirms what I've been showing you. It seems to us that one should believe that in this land there is as much where Solomon took the gold for the temple. And last book to make sure that we call it a night here real quick, because I'm going to go live on Friday. This is from the Sketches of Mexico. And in page 76, it confirms exactly just that. 78 on the bottom, it says, where is this distant Ophir, this fruitful region? Our commentators and encyclopedists agree that it is difficult to ascertain the situation. The majority say that it is either in Arabia, India, or Africa. But an old Spanish author, Arias Montanus, book, I guess in 1527 or 98, located in Peru. And his view doubtless accounts for the following passages in Ben Jonson's Alchemist, Acts 2, Scene 1. Come on, sir. Now set your foot on the shore in Nova Orbi. Here's the rich Peru. And there within, sir, are the golden mines, great Solomon's Ophir. We can prove all things in this book, and we don't need curses. I don't need curses. See what I'm saying? Anyways, it's late. Y'all have a good night. I'll go live on Friday. And I'm also going to be a judge for our brother Vega in one of his debates on Saturday. He's going to give me the link pretty soon. I'll be there live as well. I'll be doing a live on Friday, and I'll be has live on Saturday, I think at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 or 5 o'clock Western. I'll be a judge there. You brothers and sisters follow. Make sure that you share that shit because, I've been kind of sitting in my own dorm for a while. But hey, man, let's go out there, bro. Let's start debunking some funk. And anybody's welcome to hit the link too if you guys like it. Well, not today because I gotta go. I gotta work tomorrow. But anyways, y'all have a good night. You know how I roll. You know how I play this, man. I'm gonna play up some songs real quick. Probably run it for maybe 10, 15, maybe less. I don't know. And then that's it. Y'all have a good night. Remember what the title is. Please make sure you share and like. Biblical Hamitic Smoke. Just live with it, man. Just live with it. Just got to deal with it. All right. Anyways, you guys have a good night. Appreciate you. Hey, by the way, what's up, Julio? What's up, brother? What's up, brother? Waracuya, what's going on, bro? What's going on, bro? What's going on? And then let's see, kind of the same disgusting people in Syria, Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, I don't know. It could be. I'm not saying that everybody that's from West Africa is a Canaanite. Don't assume that either. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that spirit, and I don't hate like Edomites hate. I hate that you lied and hid this history for so long that all of a sudden that we're catching on. Sorry, now it's a little bit offensive. Nah, you don't want the truth. Well, too bad. Y'all have a good night.
En la Plaza de Reyes, Black 50. soplón. Yeah. ¿Qué vas a saber? ¿Qué vas a saber tú? Oye, chibolito, Bartomé. Pulpín de los pulpines, batería de Rapunzel, de rapeos, de raptos, de lagartos en cuartel. Cualquier la pega de cruel con un viejo coronel. Soy flujo, se me antojó dormirme en el laurel. Eleve mi level con un label y un Faber-Castell. Ya un papel, lo empape con sangre de todo aquel que se jura Nobel y no ve mis tenis en la riel. What's up, man? ¿Por qué no sacan la tablet? Juro por mis aguas que no te hablo por las powers. Soy chinchado neto, búscame por pico sour y te voy a meter al centro loco como Beckenbauer. Escúchame atento mi bro, que estamos rompiéndole en pro. El negro de Plaza de Reyes como siempre rompe este micrófono. Que quiere meterle como yo pero no puede meterle taco pro. Si te pensaba que solo era un gallo, déjame decirle que se equivocó. Real motherfucker feeling on the street. Es el Black Sheep, Black Sea Metal de Plaza de Kings. Motherfucker, so plum.
Nero Luigi, man, desempeño en la victoria para que sepa. Incas Mo, Money Gang Gang, yeah, yeah, Yo también he llorado, gente. También me han desplazado por mi rasgo afrodescendiente. Sí, un perro no habla pero siente. Cuento historias callejeras pa' barrios de delincuentes. Soy un perro que te ladra, que te muerde y que te huele, nene. Soy más que Lele, ustedes para mí son pelele. Con mi jauría todo el día en busca de los cheles. Tengo un perro en fiscalía que nos mueve los papeles y otro en la comisaría para evitar el susto. Muchas veces me han llevado por solo como luzco. Perdón, madre mía, si yo le causé un disgusto, pero en esta vía yo crecí rodeado de perros chuscos. Yo sé que me quieren ganar, yo sé que me quieren tumbar y no pasará porque soy de verdad. Está súper rafina la Dodo Style, metido en latina aprendiendo un style. Yo tengo el style, no mido la raza del perro, yo mido por la lealtad y yo soy leal. Yeah. La calle te enseña lo que no te enseña la universidad. Yeah. Saliste se empeña aquí con una seña te tiran para atrás. Yeah. La calle limeña aquí nadie la tenía, ya nada es igual. Yeah. Tiene que respetar, yeah. Tiene que respetar. Yeah. La calle te enseña lo que no te enseña la universidad. Yeah. Saliste se empeña aquí con una seña te tiran para atrás. Yeah. La calle limeña aquí nada le duele, ya nada es igual. Yeah. Tienes que respetar, yeah. Si yo soy tu papá, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cinco Mob, negro. Yeah, Cinco Mob, nigga. Yeah, Nero Luigi, man. Incas Mob, yeah. It's Money Gang, 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 yeah.
Hey, yo. Yango en la maldita casa. Me llaman pa' que les dé al menos una vez al mes. Se metieron al lago y olvidaron que era el mes. For everybody bless. La fama es una puta, me está llamando a las 3. Dile que llame después de las 16 y 25. Volví de la infancia de Abraham Lincoln, con fuerza ya inco, luchando para salir del rincón. Letra callejera en CD brinco, under del under. Puede que tu viejo te lo mande. Sale de vez en cuando como el cóndor por los Andes. Mi cuerpo no es de madera como Dandy. Antes que me branden, yo seré el ola que los expande. Aunque esto me pique en la madera, no sirven ni para romper el ticket de un evento afuera. Loco por la carrera, desafían la gravedad. Yo espero tras la barrera y llego con la novedad. Niña, tú solo espera que ya encontré la manera. He visto bastante por querer lograrlo saltando escalones dentro de la escalera. La vida me puso al depósito, yo soy de púlpito pa' que el mundo conociéramos. De esta parte mejor intérprete capaz de esta cordillera. Sin luz afuera, que el espectáculo es dentro. La calle es mi templo, tiembla el pavimento cuando yo me concentro. Mis disparos son temas, la calle un poema se siente desde cuando entro. Y a toditos estos drogaditos que creen que rapean los regreso al centro de mi balcón. Yo he visto el clown del clown en la misma gestión, pero a la malla no llega el balón. Y para esta pantalla no existe patrón. Yo llamo, esa es la cuestión, y doy fe por cada renglón. Consciente de la operación del final de Mbappé con la edad de bufón. De Yango en la maldita casa, Plaza de Rey y papá. El Nero Luigi, Black Mental, hip hop peruano, rasgo en la maldita base. Yao, yao, yao. Viven huyendo de la envidia como los niños en Siria de la bomba que le manda el Pentágono. Y todo el día, mamá mía, keeping it mood, that's a real love, man, I never fear, never, no. La travesía de la vida más que misericordiosa y nuestra prosa siempre para allá favor, no. Tú podrás por mí traicionar a tu familia, matar tu brazo sangre si vos sabías, pero yo no. Familia, familia, es el que está a la mínimo. Familia, familia, comparte almas cristalinas. Familia, familia, Rastafarian familia. Familia, familia, Magna White son familia, ya no maniga.
خواتي شو من حالي وشو من حالي هلي بالك ربي كبير وربي عالي هو اللي جاي يديني اليوم وباقي سالي ربي يغفر لي ولا دراري خواتي شو من حالي وشو من حالي هلي بالك ربي كبير وربي عالي هو اللي جاي يديني اليوم وباقي سالي ربي يغفر لي ولا دراري Tuve un sueño donde no había amor se perdía el color de una flor se marchaba lentamente con el sol en el horizonte hacer algo para calmar en mi dolor y es por eso que le pongo flow viviendo alto siempre Burruco bimba y es que todo por la familia Burruco bimba y es por eso vengo a bendecir Burruco bimba y es que todo por la familia Burruco bimba y es por eso vengo a bendecir
Familia, familia, es el que está a la mínimo. Familia, familia, comparte almas cristalinas. Familia, familia, Rastafarian familia. Familia, familia, Magna White son familia, ya no maniga.
Magna super escalón, subiendo a nuevo escalón Metallic in the salon, esquivo like si de Stallone Esos tics van del palo, pero bitch no rascan balón Aunque me enrollo nada, cáñamo, nunca me paro Aunque van tras de mí, no se pueden medir Buscan el elixir, está metalizado Y es que yo soy así, no van a descubrir Sexy flow y skill con este descaro Su familia necesita de ti, Figaro Burruco Connection, Antarctic Field, dígalo A mí nadie quería de París, día yo Los magnetes han llegado, están aquí, píalo Para soportar el dolor como no imaginas Es la vida en ámbar Aunque creas que no puedes tú solo con la movida Yo llevaré tus bambas Familia, familia Fighting the hate and the media Familia, familia It's original, man Familia, familia Fighting the hate and the media Familia, familia Yo soy un rocket, ellos a brillar Con los míos siempre se lo baila Menea melena, remueve la vaina Aunque agarre fuerte el fruto para que no se caiga Son los Magna de Boss Final Con los míos siempre se lo baila Menea melena, remueve la vaina Aunque agarre fuerte el fruto para que no se caiga Son los Magna de Boss Final Dispara millas sin mirar y sin mirar sin asimilar Que es la puta herida de tu vida urgo Los manas te la chatarrilla hacen pa' pillar piltrafillas Tres donos nos pilla y se va con la furgo Te hará falta una pedicura y una cura Si se apura quizás llega la locura de mi turbo Dale vueltas a la partícula, deja ya la mandíbula Quieta que sola llega a Luxemburgo
Niño prepara la compota que la pera pata
Pero vinimos a mejorarla
Pa' hablar por mi familia y tengo autoridad
Saben que no puedo cagarla
Y poner ritmo y los manos les toca cuatro patas ¿Quieres esa vaina pa' probarla? Todo aquel en el party donde se gata What the fuck, what the girl, what an alma Viven muriendo de la envidia como los niños en Siria de la bomba que le manda el Pentágono Y todo el día, mamá mía, keeping it mood, that's a real love, man, I never fear, never, no. La travesía de la vida más que misericordiosa Y nuestra prosa siempre para allá favor, no. Tú podrás por mí traicionar a tu familia Matar tu brazo sangre si vos sabías, pero yo no Familia, familia Es el que está a la mínimo Familia, familia Comparte almas cristalinas Familia, familia Rastafarian familia Familia, familia Magna White son familia, ya no maniga Bombo cry Sing it, sing it, sing it, sing it Cross the line on them Warrior Vengo con los míos Magna Gate While I fire them Bombo cry Sing it, sing it, sing it, sing it Cross the line on them Warrior Vengo con los manas y saqué While I fire them I could stop, shut up on the microphone ballad And the smoke the marijuana psycho Buddha bombo clad Bang bang in the
street, fire burn it, fill it with. Rasta man, I got Illuminati, play the kill. Stop, shut up, on the microphone, galat. And the smoke, the marijuana, psycho, Buddha, bombo, clan. Bang, bang in the street, fire burn it, fill it with. Key Cray is a king, Magnus thing. Nobody, no kill them. In a creepy style. Chale, no fire them. It's a Rasta ganja. Nobody, no kill them. It's a crispy style. Tally, the fire cream. It's a Rasta ganja. Familiar, Rasta chai is familiar. Key Cray is familiar. Familiar, pure nego is familiar. Sico, Key Magneto, familiar. Familiar, es el chesta la mínima. Familiar, compactar más cristalinas. Familiar, Rasta y Zion familiar. Magna boy que te hablaste, manego.
Ical, hijo, abre los ojos. Tu cuerpo se queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir. Busca la luz. Aléjate de las sombras. Deja que nuestro dolor sea tu fuerza. Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú. Tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.